Ever been stuck in like a crazy long line?
Yeah.
And somebody just cuts right in front?
Yeah, the worst.
It's like the most infuriating thing.
It's true.
And it kind of got me thinking about how that's like politics in like a tiny little nutshell.
Yeah.
You know, we're diving into political theory today, and we've got some super interesting excerpts to dig into.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny how we always think about politics as this big, distant thing, you know, politicians in Washington or whatever.
For true.
But it's really so much closer to home.
Oh, absolutely. You're totally right.
Right.
Politics at its core.
Yeah.
It's not really about elections or any of that. It's about navigating shared spaces.
Interesting.
It's figuring out resources, like who gets what.
Okay.
Even just like who gets to go first.
Right.
It's all politics, really.
So we're all like mini politicians then.
In a way, yeah.
Fighting over concert tickets.
Yes.
The last slice of pizza. It's all connected.
That is interesting.
Right.
So speaking of, you know, getting into the nitty-gritty, when I was prepping for this deep dive, I noticed our source material.
Okay.
It defines politics in all these different ways.
Sure.
Sometimes it's like this noble public service.
Yeah.
Other times it's like shady backroom deals and manipulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, what's the deal with that? Why is it so all over the place?
Well, it's true. The word politics,
it
gets thrown around a lot, and it can definitely seem contradictory.
Right.
But what political theory really tries to do is get us to look deeper. Beyond just those like surface level understandings.
Got it.
Yeah. So yes, there's all the messy stuff, the power struggles and all that.
Right.
But when you really boil it down,
Okay.
it's about something every society has to deal with. How do we coexist?
Right.
How do we all live together?
Yeah. And how do we make decisions as a group?
Yes.
Decisions that affect everyone.
Decisions that affect everyone.
From little neighborhood disagreements
Sure.
to like massive global treaties.
Interesting.
It's a huge spectrum.
And that brings up a good point.
Okay.
And I bet you're thinking this right now.
What's that?
Like, why should I care?
The age-old question.
Why does political theory even matter to me?
Right.
It sounds kind of, theoretical, like something you'd study in a dusty old library.
Yeah.
Not something that, like, actually impacts my life.
I get that. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Political theory is all about understanding
Okay.
the ideas and the values that actually shape our world.
Okay.
So don't think about it like memorizing a bunch of facts.
Right.
Think of it more like
Yeah.
acquiring a new set of glasses
Oh.
that help you see things more clearly.
Interesting.
Remember that line cutter from earlier?
Oh, yeah.
Political theory gives you the tools to break down why that felt so unfair.
Huh. Interesting.
What principles were violated there,
Right.
and how we can design systems
Okay.
to make sure everyone has a fair shot,
I like that.
whether it's for concert tickets or
Right.
something even bigger,
Right.
like access to health care
Yeah.
or a good education for your kids.
It's about more than just like the ideas.
Exactly.
It's about giving you the actual tools
Yeah.
to look at the world around you.
It's empowering.
Yeah, and like figure out where you fit in.
Absolutely.
So you're saying it's about being a more informed citizen.
100%. When you get this stuff,
Okay.
you can actually start to dissect
Okay.
what politicians are really saying.
Oh, interesting.
You can see if their promises actually hold water.
Ah,
It's like having a BS detector
right.
for all the political noise out there.
That's a good way to put it.
And it helps us
Yeah.
have better conversations
Right.
about the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
Instead of just reacting emotionally.
Yeah, just getting mad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can actually have real reasoned debate.
Interesting.
We can draw on literally centuries
Wow.
of thought about justice,
Right.
about fairness, about how we should even structure our societies.
It's like we're building on what came before.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It's amazing.
And you know, speaking of those big ideas,
Yeah. What about them?
our source material uses some really relatable examples
Oh, okay.
to illustrate some of these kind of abstract concepts.
Like what?
Like, remember those separate counters they have at like the DMV
right.
for elderly people or people with disabilities?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And you know, those examples,
Yeah.
they highlight something really important.
What's that?
Sometimes fairness
Yeah.
isn't about treating everyone exactly the same. Sometimes it means recognizing
Okay.
that people have different needs, and we have to address those
Interesting.
to be truly fair.
So it's about finding that balance then
Exactly.
between equal opportunity, but then also realizing sometimes people need different things.
I think it's nuanced.
To actually have an equal shot.
It is.
And that's something we can apply everywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Like education.
Of course.
Healthcare.
Huge ones.
Economic opportunities.
A big time.
It goes on and on.
It does.
And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Because it's not always obvious, like, how to create a system where everybody has a fair chance without, you know, stepping on other people's freedom.
Exactly. These are the dilemmas that political theorists have been wrestling with for ages.
Interesting.
How do we create a society that's both just and equitable?
It's tough.
Especially when you consider things like poverty.
Right.
Which can create such unequal starting points.
It's a huge question.
It is, but it's one we have to ask.
Absolutely.
And then there's the role of government.
Right.
How much should they be involved?
Yeah, where's the line?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where do we draw that line?
So interesting.
It's tricky stuff.
It is tricky stuff.
But essential to consider.
Absolutely.
If we want to make any progress.
For sure. And this is where our deep dive into these excerpts gets really fascinating.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Because we start to see these ideas come to life through examples.
Love it.
For instance, our source material.
Okay.
It really digs into this concept of equality.
Okay.
Which is way more nuanced than it might seem at first glance.
I bet.
We hear about equality all the time, but what does that even really mean?
That's the question, isn't it?
Right.
It's easy to say, but much harder to actually figure out.
So is it just about having the same rights on paper?
Right.
Or is there something more to it?
Exactly. Our source material.
Okay.
It brings up some really thought-provoking examples.
Oh, interesting. Like,
well, take poverty, for instance. If someone's struggling just to put food on the table, can we really say they have equal opportunity?
It's hard to say that.
Even if they technically have the same rights.
Right. It's like saying everyone has an equal chance to win a race.
Exactly.
When some people are starting miles behind the starting line.
It's not a level playing field.
Not at all.
And that's where you get into this whole thing of equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is a whole other can of worms.
Right. So like equal opportunity.
Yes. So it's like
everyone has the same theoretical chance to succeed.
Exactly. It's about removing the barriers.
Right. Just get rid of the obstacles.
But then you have equality of outcome.
Okay.
Which is saying everyone ends up at the same point no matter what.
Regardless of like...
Regardless of anything. Background, effort, circumstances, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
It gets complicated.
It gets complicated.
Right.
Yeah.
So using one of the examples from the source material. Providing midday meals in schools. You could argue that levels the playing field.
In a way. Yeah.
Because it ensures kids from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Yeah. They're not so belly.
Exactly. They're not trying to learn on an empty stomach.
So it's about recognizing that sometimes
you need more than just formal equality.
Interesting.
You need to actually address those historical disadvantages.
Those systemic barriers.
Absolutely. Those systemic barriers that prevent certain groups
from having a real shot.
From actually having a fair chance.
And this is where it gets really tricky.
Tell me about it.
Because it's like, where's the line between helping people and then also encouraging them.
Right. You don't want to create
dependency.
Yeah. That's the tightrope.
That's a tough one.
That political theory tries to walk.
Yeah. And these are the questions.
They're big ones.
That we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. Even on a smaller scale.
Okay, how so?
Remember a line cutter?
Oh, yeah, from before?
What if they had a real emergency? Does that change things?
That's a good point.
It might. Right.
Yeah.
Political theory helps us think through those nuances.
It reminds us that it's not always black and white.
There are so many shades of gray.
It's about considering all those different angles.
And that brings us to another super important part of political theory.
All right, I'm listening.
The power of reason.
Okay.
Our source material uses a great example for this.
What's that?
The excerpt from Plato's Republic.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Socrates?
He was intense.
He really challenges those simple definitions of justice.
He was like a dog with a bone.
Right. He wouldn't let go.
He just wouldn't let it go.
Until he got to the heart of it.
It's like he was saying.
Don't just
accept things at face value.
Think critically.
Exactly.
Use your brain.
Question everything.
That's the Socratic method in action.
Right.
A cornerstone of philosophy.
And you're saying that's still important today?
Oh, it's more important than ever.
How so?
We live in a world that's drowning in information.
Sure.
Opinions are everywhere.
Everywhere you look, it's just opinions.
And they're constantly fighting.
Right.
And it's easy to get swept up in all that.
Oh, totally.
But political theory, it gives us these tools to navigate this craziness.
By teaching us to
think for ourselves. To examine the evidence.
Right, and like not just go with our gut.
Exactly. It's like having a mental toolkit.
I like that.
For breaking down arguments.
Oh, interesting.
Spotting biases.
Right.
So you can form your own conclusions.
Based on reason.
Based on reason, not just emotion.
That's really cool.
And it helps us understand.
What's that?
That having these debates,
yeah,
even when they're tough.
For sure.
Even when they're uncomfortable.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to have those tough conversations.
They're essential for progress.
They are.
Because if we want a more just and equitable society, we have to constantly question things.
Right. Challenge the status quo.
Exactly. And be open to different perspectives.
That's what makes political theory.
It's exciting, right?
So exciting. It's not just
some abstract thing.
Right.
It's about giving you the power to be an active and engaged citizen.
In a world that desperately needs that.
The world needs it now more than ever.
So we've gone from like line cutters to like ancient Greek philosophers.
The whole gamut.
And we've seen how these big political theory ideas,
they
actually show up in our lives.
They're all around us once you start noticing.
Exactly. And like more importantly, we've talked about how understanding them can make us better citizens, more critical thinkers, you know.
It's about being engaged.
Right. And better at fighting for the kind of world we want.
Because we all have a stake in this.
Totally. So it all comes back to that question we asked earlier.
Let's hear it.
What does equality really mean to you?
The $1 million question.
Right.
Right.
Is it about making sure...
Is it about...
everyone starts at the same place?
Okay.
Even if it means like some people need a little extra help?
Right.
Or is it more about...
making
sure everyone has an equal chance?
An equal opportunity.
Right.
To succeed.
Even if they end up in different places.
It's a tough one.
It's one of those questions.
It really is.
With no easy answers.
No easy answers at all.
And every society has to figure it out.
Right. Based on its own values.
Their own unique context.
Exactly. What works one place might not work somewhere else.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
There you go.
Right.
That's political theory in a nutshell.
And what's so cool about it...
what's so cool is
that it gives us a starting point.
And the framework.
Right? To even have these conversations.
Exactly. To see different sides.
To actually listen to each other.
And to keep striving for better.
To keep pushing for a world.
Yes.
That's more fair for everybody.
Just more equitable.
It's a process.
It's a journey.
It's not about
not about finding all the answers right now.
Yeah, like checking boxes.
Exactly. It's about the constant struggle.
Right.
To create a better future.
And I love that. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
But I want to leave you with this.
Hit me with it.
Next time you encounter politics, whether it's like a debate about a local park or a national election or
even just someone cutting you off in traffic.
Exactly.
Right.
Remember, it's not just noise.
It's not just background noise.
It's an opportunity.
There you go.
To put these ideas into practice.
To engage with your community.
To really shape the world.
To be the change you want to see.
I love that. So to sum it all up.
Let's sum it up.
Political theory reminds us.
It reminds us.
We're not just along for the ride.
We're not passive bystanders.
Right. We are all
architects.
We can build a better future.
If we work together.
I like it. And on that note.
Until next time.
Keep those brains working.
Keep those questions coming.
And we'll see you on our next deep dive.